some wine. Oops, sorry.
No, that was me. I'm not sure what happened there. It said the recording had just started, so.
So in this way, the weather is a little bit more cold. So we get colder temperature also during the night. So that keeps the acidity in the grape, and that's perfect to make very good white wine. And the other bench is stand bench. Next picture, maybe. Yes, that stand bench with the little terrace. So this is more on the south side of the mountain, little bit like 150 meters under Margaret, so just 50 meters above the winery. So we have some Petit Verdot Malbec and some Chardonnay and some Riesling and our Viognier as well. Just to give you an example, the Chardonnay on this side is usually ripe 3 weeks before the one from Margaret's.
So this bench is below or above Margaret's?
150 meters below.
Below.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are terraces?
That's nice terraces of Cabernet Franc.
Awesome.
It's very cute, but it's not funny to take care of it.
Hard to work. A lot of handwork, a lot of physical work. Hopefully you have.
So here is where we do the job. Let's go to say that. So Culmina, the philosophy, as I say, we are organic in the vineyard. And in the winery, we are not organic, but we are kind of low intervention. So the goal is to get the grape to the bottle. Of course, we take care about the temperature of fermentation. We take care about a lot of stuff, but the goal is not too much to interact with the flavor of the grapes. So we don't use a cheap oak. It's just French oak barrel, very respectful about the fruit. Sometimes we use commercial yeast or wild yeast. No additive like tartaric or sugar or whatever. So here is where we are going to press the skin from the red grape. So before this operation, we fill the tank by gravity. The red fermenter, as you can see on the left side. We fill the tank by gravity with a little forklift, with the grape are destem and little bit crush. And 3 weeks, 1 month after we did the pomp over, the cuvaison and everything, we open the bottom valve, we rack the free wine to the barrel, so usually it's the best wine. And after we open the door and with a shovel or fork, we take off the skin and we put the skin in this little wood basket to do the pressed wine. So this wine is way stronger than the free wine, but we use it in the final blend just in case we need a little bit more body. So it's very interesting to do it because you need to separate the press because it's not going to taste the same. The beginning will be, let's go to see the less interesting of the press. The middle will be the best. And at the end, we cut it as well. And after that, for example, for the red, they stay in a French oak barrel for between 16 to 18 months.
So this basket reminds me of champagne a little bit. Is it the same idea?
Yeah, they use the same in champagne for the white. So what you need to know is we use the same basket press to do all our Chardonnay, like Dilemma.
Wow.
I think you have the 18 to test. So that's all basket press. Why? So if you use a basket press, it's not good for the yield. You're not going to get all the juice that you can get from a bladder press, but it's going so slowly that the skin is not going to mix for the white with the juice, and you get, in this way, less, we call that phenolic in the wine, so it's more elegant, more delicate.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of two of the trade secrets you've revealed so far, so there you go. So do you have anything to add before we get on to the wines, or we'll just integrate the conversation? Because now we're going to start with the Unicus. This is BC's, Gruner Veltliner, the first Gruner to be planted in the Okanagan, planted by Culmina. Culmina. So again, please take it away and share with us some of your thoughts around the story and why it's just getting better and better.
Yeah. So the Grüner Veltliner. So just to let you know, I have no idea about the Grüner Veltliner before I arrived at Culmina. So as I told you that I arrived August 2016, so just before the harvest, and I met Triggs, the owner. And he told me, okay, Jean-Marc, I want you to make great red wine and everything. Well, I say, okay, no problem, I know that. Rosé, okay, why not? I did. But Chardonnay, well, I'm from Bordeaux, not too much, but we'll see. Riesling, yeah, why not, why not? And Grüner Veltliner, what? A Grüner Veltliner, what? A Grüner Veltliner. Okay, I have no idea. Okay, so let's go. But anyway, that was for the little story. So the Grüner Veltliner is from Austria. So it's something that I didn't know, but very interesting. So we grow it on Margaret Bench, so it's higher in altitude. For me, the most impressing, the most character of this wine is the smell. It's very grapefruit. As soon as the fermentation starts in the cellar, you arrive in the cellar and you can say, oh, the Grüner Veltliner is fermenting because it smells grapefruit everywhere. So how we make this wine? So it's handpicked, of course. We use a bladder press, cutting the press. After with a small racking, we put a part of the juice in a concrete amphora and a concrete egg for a part of it. So the concrete amphora is going because of the shape of the tank. Is during the fermentation because you have some CO2, the yeast produce some CO2. Mm-hmm. So that's turning the yeast like that. So it's like a small batonnage during a fermentation. So in this way, that gives body to the wine and more flavor. So the amphora, because the shape is like that, it's way more aromatic compared to the other one, the egg, with like that, with way more for the body. It's very interesting to compare both during the fermentation or at the end of the fermentation. We do also a part is white ferment in neutral French oak, like 20% if I remember. And another one is just a quick skin contact for just a night, and after it goes to stainless steel tank, classic tank. All my fermentation are not 5 days or 1 week or 2 weeks. It could take, I think in 17, I finished the fermentation 3 weeks before the bottling. So I was kind of the hurry. So yeah, it goes slowly, but in this way, the yeast stay mixed with the wine and that give more body and more aroma to the wine. So that gives you a kind of rich wine. It's between Marika finds a good description on it. It's a body of Chardonnay with kind of Riesling and a hint of Viognier. So it's very unique wine. Usually people love it or don't like it because it's wine with character. It's not a commercial wine. You can, of course, the picture is perfectly nice with a nice cheese, goat cheese and some bread. But also you can use that on kind of spicy chicken if you do some stuff like that, or if you have 5 minutes, you chop 1 onion, butter, some mussel, hint of curry, and just a little bit of white wine for 10 minutes, and you add some sour cream at the end, and it's perfect also.
Sounds like you like cooking as well as making wine.
Yeah,
which is
I love
a great
cooking.
Combination, right?
Yeah, it's not good for my belly, but I like it.
Yes, the hard work makes up for it. Did anyone? So we have 2 vintages in the wine pack, and I'm just curious if anybody has tried both vintages. And maybe Jean-Marc, just talk a little bit about what should you anticipate? I mean, there's a couple of issues. One is we've got 2 different vintages, so vintage has an impact, but also age has a little bit of an impact in a bottle. So do you want to talk a little bit about what people might experience and why this is a very interesting comparison?
Alors, the first thing is what you can see is kind of evolution. First for the grape, because they were planted in 2011. So they start to produce fruit in 2014. So 2017 was pretty young for the vine, just the vineyard. So young vineyard sometimes could be very nice with you, or it could be kind of a teenager way and tell you, no way, I'm not going to make good grapes this year. Anyway, if you put any effort on me, I will say no way. And in 2021, we are 10 years old. So the vineyards start to be a little bit more mature. So the grapes are way more balanced. We start to have a little bit more body. 17, it was a pretty nice vintage. So he has 4 years old, of course, already compared to the 24 years older compared to the 21. So he maybe lost a hint of his brightness, but it's still pretty alive. I tested 2 months ago. It was still pretty in good shape. So that shows that the Gruner, you can keep it anyway if it was a young vine. Usually you can't. And you can see the evolution about the richness of the wine as well, because the grapes just start to be older.
Right. Well, I tried both, and I think the point that you made, you don't have to drink Gruner as soon as you buy it or as soon as it arrives in your cellar, and that, you know, it might be interesting to actually buy a 6-pack and have a bottle every year just to observe its transition. There was a little bit more of a dried citrus peel kind of essence to the 2017, I thought, and this 2021 has a bit of freshness, but they're very similar, like very fresh. I love the acidity. Some people have asked, you know, what is it like? Is it like Sauvignon Blanc? You know, what do you think?
Me, it's unique. It's Gruner.
Yeah, it's unique.
The best way is test it, make your own call. There is wine for everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. Cassandra, I know you're here somewhere. We did a cheese pairing. Do you want to talk a little bit about the cheese that we picked here?
We did. We really enjoyed pyramid goat cheese, which came from Agassiz, from Farmhouse Cheeses. And I found that the Culmina had a really nice acidity and creaminess. And, you know, in food pairing, it's almost like you want to go on the one side to complement and the other side to contrast. And this really worked as a complement, because the creamy, kind of sharp, almost funkiness of the cheese, and even the outside,
that rind, yeah, the wash
yeah,
rind.
the rind. It was. I'm almost hesitant to say rind, because it was so sort of soft. It wasn't that normal hard rind. So getting into this cheese was just so interesting, and it had such complexity, and it really echoed the creaminess, the acidity, and then the fruit just kind of shone once you got that taste in there of that mouthful of goat cheese and rind, and a few of those little Marcona almonds.
Oh my, that was great.
Saltiness. So that was Benson Brothers, and we went down to Granville Island, and we did find that this cheese worked really well. And it's, again,
and just be aware that this piece of cheese is actually a $25 piece. So make sure you have a party of 4 handy, or you've got a few bottles of wine for the next few days to share it with, because it was lovely and rich. Cheese should always be at room temperature. I found that we let it sort of warm up. We did the pictures down at Granville Island, so it was kind of fun. Anyway, lovely. That's our recommendation. If you like it, let us know what you think.
David's weighing in and letting us know that the Gruners will age 15 years. And if the one that we've started on for, I guess it's 4 years now, is any indication.
Alive and fresh. Yeah, alive and fresh. So this perhaps Dilemma was like the first wine that I tried in 2015 that really kind of stuck out as a signature old world style in a new world region. And now we have Jean-Marc, who's going to just maybe tell us about the 2018 and tell us why, you know, there's a bunch of things you've already alluded to, but we have a special vineyard and now we've got special wine. So please.
So yeah, Dilemma 2018. So so I make different kind of wine, but first it comes at the fact that I'm not big fan of nothing against them, of course, just my own taste. California, heavy Chardonnay wine with lot of oak. It's I'm not big fan of that. So the goal here is to make kind of Chardonnay with nice body, but very elegant, sur la finesse, as I can say in French. So we pick the grape. Oh, it's from Margaret, so usually it's ready around beginning of October. So around October 5 to October 10, we have 3 blocks of Chardonnay upstairs, so it's 3 acres. One is a classic clone, 76, and after I have two more modern clone, let's go to say that. So we unpick, we bring that down to the winery, and we use a basket press, so we press that very gentle. That go directly to a small tank. So after we rack that to the barrel. So we just use French oak barrel because the goal is, with a kind of barrel that I choose, is small toast, well, light toast. It's just to avoid to go over the wine. It's just here to age the wine properly, just to give a little bit help of the wine, that's it. But it's not to go over the wine. So I don't want to taste oak when I drink the wine. And also to keep a nice balance, we don't do a full malolactic fermentation. So when the malolactic fermentation starts, I start to test it almost 2-3 times a week. And I try to be good testing all the barrels, say, okay, we need to stop, the balance is perfect. Or sometimes it's a little bit too early, sometimes it's a little bit too late, sometimes it's perfect, but we never know, we just try because it doesn't stop like that. We just try, that's the funny part. And in this way, wine is alive as well. So after 9 months in French oak barrel, we, of course, we do twice a week, we do a little bâtonnage. So the goal is just with a big cane going inside the barrel and moving the lees to same thing to give more flavor, more body to the wine. And after we bottle it at Culmina. So Dilemma 2018 was in bottle, I think around July, August 2019. So that gives you a nice, for me, I kind of like it, but it's not important. A nice Chardonnay, well balanced, very elegant. Of course, he has body, but it's not heavy. It's just on the finesse, I would say.
It's a beautiful style. I can honestly vouch for every time I taste it, it's just so well balanced. And I think that there's a real elegant perfection that's going on in that style. I do want to point out that they're out of the 2018 unless it's in our packs. And that's just a recent phenomenon. So I did put a little asterisk there on the slide, and I did say that 2019 is now available. However, they did hold a few bottles back in case anybody wants to pick up pack after the presentation. So that's just doing business with you all in the kindest way. So thank you, Culmina, or thank you, Marieke, for holding some bottles for us. Any questions about the Chardonnay? Is anybody sipping the Chardonnay at the moment? Yes, some ladies are lovely, Lori. Thank you. And what do you think? Thumbs up? Do we have a reaction to thumbs up? Excellent. Okay. I like to hear that. I remember James Clore echoing, oh my God, are we in Burgundy? And I kept thinking, I don't know, I haven't been to Burgundy yet. And then I realized that being in the Okanagan might just be, as you know, its own special, unique gem, maybe even being better than in Burgundy. I should never say that, but it's the new world, and I was very appreciative. So moving right along, we are now, we've had 2 vintages of the Unicus, 1 vintage of the Dilemma Chardonnay, and now we're on to a fun wine that you've created. You want to tell us about Malbec?
Yep. So just a little presentation before the number 16 natural Malbec. So wine number 16. So every year at Culmina, I need to find a funny idea about 3 new wine. It's our number series, available usually for the club member. So at the beginning, it's where we try the wild ferment, for example, for the Gruner or for the Chardonnay. But it could be also, we did, and I'm going to do it again, an orange wine with the Gewürztraminer, totally natural fermentation, no filtration. We did the white wine with no trick from Cabernet Franc, aged on Chardonnay lees. It was very interesting. I was a little bit stressed before the bottling, but after the wine evolved pretty good.
Why did you, can I just interrupt? Why did you decide to do white? So basket press.
For the Cabernet Franc?
Franc.
Oh, for the fun.
For
In
the
fact,
fun of it.
We are looking for new idea and everything.
Yeah.
And in fact, is Blanc de Franc is kind of name that it's funny. And also compared to Malbec, for example, the Cabernet Franc, to get the color is not right the way. So usually when I make rosé from Cabernet Franc, it's pretty light color. So I say, okay, that's the best varietal to make white wine from a red one. It's kind of Pinot Noir. So we did it like why? Because of that.
Excellent. It was it's a great story. Surprising.
So the natural Malbec is part of this program. Because the goal at Culmina, I try to express the terroir of the Okanagan, of the Golden Mile Bench where we are. I don't try to make Bordeaux wine, Chardonnay wine, Burgundy wine, or Vallée du Rhône wine. I try to make Okanagan wine. So I'm learning every year. So that's helped me to learn a lot because I can try new technique or different technique. So the natural Malbec is from the block of Malbec that we pick in 2021, if I remember, or 2020, 2021. And the goal is to have this wine ready for the summer. So it was a pretty quick fermentation. Well, how do you say that? Way to make red wine. So we pick the grape, we de-steam them, we didn't crush them, and I just dump them by gravity in an open top tank, and I start to wait for a fermentation. So a little bit of the grape start to ferment from the bottom, so that puts CO2 everywhere. So it was a kind of, we call that semi-carbonic maceration. So it's what they use in Beaujolais or Grand Cru du Beaujolais. So it starts to do that. So that's why that gives to the wine this kind of primary aroma that you can find in Beaujolais. Anyway, if the Beaujolais is from Gamay. So that was very interesting. So after I do a totally white ferment, we press it, age week just 3 months in neutral French oak and in bottle. So the goal of this wine is to was ready for the summer and you enjoy it with a good meal, of course, and with something like a kind of new aroma as well. And so that's why, so what I will just ask people, just open the bottle 2 hours before to let him breathe a little bit because it's kind of new wine, it's pretty young. And after enjoying around your barbecue, it's 30 degrees, or if you're in the Okanagan Valley, it's 40 degrees. Enjoy it around your barbecue with friends, because the goal is always to share wine with friends.
That's it. That's why we're here, wine with friends on Zoom. Deep purple, lovely color. Malbec in the Okanagan is becoming a thing. More producers are sharing their experiences with us. We did proceed with pairing to go with this wine. Cassandra, do you want to talk about the cheese?
Yeah, this is a cheese from Smith's, and it's an aged goat Gouda. So it had some real butterscotch and some funky goat, you know, the
Strong Billy.
yeah, the kind of foresty flavors, and I thought the Malbec had a really nice acidity, and it really needed something with a bit of backbone, and the butterscotch notes worked really well. I think the acidity helped to bring out the fruit in the wine more. When you had the cheese, you felt that dark fruit happening in your as you nibbled and sipped. So yeah, this was a really fun cheese. It's from Smith's, and then they call themselves Cow, so it's CO.W. So it's a little confusing because it's actually Smith's Cow Aged Goat's Gouda, but that's just the name of the company. So yeah, another Benton Brothers pick, and I'm thinking that I think they're somewhere up in the Shuswap or up that way, but I didn't make a note of that. So
yeah, I think so. What I opened this, I didn't finish the bottle on the first night. So the second night, I even went out and bought some Roquefort, creamy, a nice strong flavor, and I had it with this, and I just really enjoyed it. I think there's something really fresh and bright about this style of wine, and it's very versatile. That would be my feeling about it. And I like the idea of opening up a couple hours before you sip to enjoy. But very versatile. Did anybody try this wine? Anybody try the Malbec yet? Not yet. All right.
Barb, I think we also made the note that, you know, it's light enough to be a summer wine almost, like, you know, it isn't just so overwhelmingly,
No.
oh, I need to, you know, some Malbecs that you get are just huge bombs and you feel like you've got to have some barbecued ribs or something quite extreme, but this wine showed more elegantly.
I think, would you chill it to serve it? I mean, it feels like chilling it wouldn't be a bad idea, and it kind of lends itself to that summer experience. So that's a thought. All right, moving on to the next fabulous wine. I hope somebody's got some steak or rib steaks tonight somewhere. This is the Cabernet Sauvignon 2018. Anybody got this beauty opened? Yes, that's excellent. Are you enjoying it? Yes. Please, winemaker, tell us, what's the secret?
There is no secret. So Cabernet Sauvignon. So first we are in Canada, as you know, and every winter I remember that we are in Canada, because during the summer you forget. So Cabernet Sauvignon, it's a late varietal. So to get it ripe, you need to wait. So usually the bud break in the Okanagan Valley, to give you an example, it's 1 month after France. So after we need, because we have a very big summer, very hot summer, and we have more light than in France, usually we make the gap. And the harvest is, well, beginning of November for the Cabernet Sauvignon, usually at Culmina. Also, a bunch of people say you can't make a good Cabernet Sauvignon in the Okanagan Valley. So could be kind of stupid sometimes. So I say, why not? It's an interesting challenge. So all our cab sauv are very close to the tasting room because it's where we have more, it's the most sunny part of the vineyard. So they get sun all day almost, almost no shadow from the mountain. So the yield is pretty low. It's around like 3 tons, 2.5 tons an acres. It's end harvest. And what I learned in 2017 is the little Okanagan technique terroir, because we are here to show the terroir in the bottle. It's to try to ripe a little bit more my tannin. I can leave my grape for the first night of frost outside and bringing frozen grape. Because in 17, in fact, we get, during one night, we get 20 centimeters of snow. It was my second harvest in Canada, my first harvest with snow. I bring half of one of my blocks the day before, so you fill a fermenter, and we pick in the snow. the other half the day after -6, and tasting the two wine, I say, oh, that's very interesting. The frost has a very nice effect on the texture of the tannin of this Cabernet Sauvignon. So every year now, I'm trying to play a little bit with the frost when we get one, just to cook a little bit this tannin sometime. And at the end, of course, it's to get a full body Cabernet Sauvignon that you can age forever, always keeping the balance. So it's after it's aged in 16 months in French oak. So compared to, for example, the Malbec as before, the Malbec that we do, we use a toast a little bit more stronger, but you don't feel it because the structure of the wine can handle it. So it's always French oak, a toast a little bit more, more stronger, like I say. And as you can see, you open it, it's not dead at all. Just what you can do is use a little carafe, make a nice meal. If it's winter, it's cold outside, that's the perfect wine compared to the Malbec. Invite some friend, open your bottle, take a glass to see if there is no issue, carafe, cook, wait for your friend, and let's go.
I have it open right now, and I have to say I've been sipping it over the course of the last 3 nights because, of course, I don't drink a whole bottle on my own. And it's got such a lovely texture, a balance. It is still a perfect wine. And I think sometimes if you live on your own like I do, having a bottle that doesn't go off after the first night is such a gift. So I really find this is a delicious example of the expertise in the vineyard and then the expertise in the winery that makes somehow the magic happen. And I've tried a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon in the Valley, and I just really think this one stands out from my experience with both it doesn't dry completely. It's like it's got a nice fine grain. It's got lots of flavor. You can taste the oak, but the oak isn't the dominant feature. You have nice black currant. It's nice and dried. It's just delicious. So thank you for that. Next, we're on to Icon.
So hypothesis. So
you have a hypothesis there, Jean-Marc?
Sorry?
Do you have a hypothesis about why this is called hypothesis?
Yeah, because in fact, the story of this winery, it was built to make a Bordeaux blend. It was built to make hypothesis, in fact. So it's kind of hypothesis, let's go to make it. So it's what Don Triggs and his wife and daughter and family tried to make. So just on the side of that, when I arrive, I say, wow, it's crazy. The amount of money they put in the vineyard, the amount of research before they grow the vine, about on the soil, on the shadow from the mountain, of the temperature, of everything. Try to make the best clone, the best rootstock on the small spot of the vineyard. It's 56 acres, but I have 108 valves of irrigation. So it's kind of crazy. So we can control half acres almost of irrigation. It's only small blocks, like 1-2 acres maximum, and everything is kind of different. So we play with that. So we are close to the mountain. So they grow the Merlot close to the mountain. In this way, they get the shadow during the afternoon. And all the Cab Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon are far away from the mountain to have no shadow and get better ripeness. So just thinking about that, that's very interesting. So they invest a lot of money to try to make a beautiful Canadian red wine. And step by step, we can see the vineyard evolve. And of course, we learn every day. I learn how to manage this vineyard and how to express this vineyard in the bottle, because that's the goal at the end. So it's how this project starts. That's Culmina was built at the beginning for that. After they get more fun with a little bit of white and everything, but anyway. So how to make this wine is, so I know my block. So every block of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Petit Verdot are picked separately. So we start the beginning of October for the Merlot, and we finish mid-November for the Petit Verdot. So everything is handpicked, of course, crushed at the winery, and we do the fermentation in nice stainless tank with a kind of shape like that, a tronconic shape. When I do a pomp over, it's this way, it's going to move the skin on the top. In this way, the wine doesn't go always on the same spot. So that's very important. And after the fermentation, that's 3 weeks to 1 month, we rack the wine in barrel to do the malolactic fermentation. So for every wine, we choose what kind of barrel we are going to use. So for, like I say, for Cabernet Sauvignon will be a little bit more strong. For the Merlot and the Malbec, it's going to be way more delicate. Anyway, the pomp over is totally different between a Merlot, for example, a Cabernet Sauvignon or Malbec. The Malbec is, you just do a little bit because it's already purple black color. The Petit Verdot, you don't touch it, it's full of tannin anyway. And so we make all these wines separately, we age them separately, respecting the fruit. And after the malolactic fermentation, I start to test all my lots. And I say, oh, okay, this can make the blend for hypothesis. This can make the blend for hypothesis. And we start to work like that. So usually in March, right now, I just test the 2022 and start to put my brand, okay, let's go to make a blend on the 2022. I will test it again in September before harvest, all my lots. No, we don't blend, we just test. And I will test them everything again seriously in 1 year. And it's where I will do, okay, compared to how the wine evolved in 1 year and about what we want and what is working, we can work on this blend. So 80% in 1 year, the blend will be made. And after I just need 2 months before bottling, I will adjust the blend like the last. What is very interesting doing a blend is it's not because you put the best wine together that is going to work. Sometimes you can put the best stone together to build a wall, but if you don't have the cement in the middle, nothing is going to stay together. So sometimes you need a lot with little bit behind, and that's going to help to give some harmony to this wine. So the goal is to have a very nice red wine, elegant, well-balanced, nice body, that you can age, of course, few years with no issue. Same thing, you open the bottle, you sip one glass, you keep it on the side a little bit, and 2 hours after, it's ready to go. I will enjoy that. Bon, I love food, I love cooking, of course. So what you on the website, I think we put the recipe. It was, I call that the Okanagan, using the same recipe as the Burgundy beef. So it's an Okanagan beef because it's used with red wine from the Okanagan, and that's worked perfectly with it. And you have nice plate as well, and good to go.
So I don't know if anybody else is hearing the detail that I'm hearing, but it's masterful. It's absolutely masterful to make these wines and to have this information. Like, there are people who just blend, winemakers who just blend, and there are teams of people who are hired to do every part of this story that we've just heard. And here there's just one man and he's doing it all. So for me, it's so impressive. Yeah. And I just have to say, Jean-Marc, it's just, it says so much about your deep experience and your wisdom, but it also reminds us all that it's like a chef in a Michelin star restaurant. You are contemplating all of the components that are required to make the perfect dish. So I feel like this conversation could go on for quite a while, because we would want to hear more about the delicious pairings that you would suggest. And maybe we should think about a party at your place, in the summer when you're not busy.
Yeah.
But truly, thank you so much for sharing the deep details. And I hope everyone has, any questions around, what he was referring to. Petit Bordeaux, if nobody knows, is one of those grape varieties that it can or cannot survive a year. It does or does not ripen. There are many steps in this conversation that really remind me that, a farmer grows a crop is subject to not only the elements of weather, but also every step along the way that somehow magically and it isn't magic, it's expertise that it comes together. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm just so delighted. And I think everyone's appreciative. Yeah. So I see some clapping. We'll wrap this up shortly. I want Cassandra, we did a cheese pairing to go with the hypothesis. Do you want to talk a little bit about what was the cheese called? Alpendon?
Yeah, it's out of Creston, BC. I mean, this is such a big wine. It's so complex. And I mean, that you could just, when you think of food to go with this, I mean, there's so many layers. Like, it's not just a steak. It has to be some sort of braised meat with a lot of different spice to it. So this one, the cheese that I found went best, it is a complex cheese, and it's got kind of a nutty finish and a peppery spice. It's from Kootenay Meadows. It's called Alpendon, similar to a cheese that's from the region of Savoie in France. So nice caramel, beginnings, nutty finish, peppery spice, just, like the wine has a bit of that spice, and it's rich enough to hold up to, the acidity and the tannins. This is a wine that can really age and will change over the years. It'll be really interesting to see how it all comes together. But yes, there's a few cheeses that I could get into, but this Alpendon really worked.
Thanks for sharing that. We did take these pictures, as you can see, down at Granville Island, so that was kind of fun. Last but not least, before we turn off our presentation and we open up the screen and the conversation, just a reminder that these wine packs will be available until midnight, March the 12th, which could be 8 a.m. March the 13th. So if you haven't ordered, there are a few items now that are no longer available broadly. So, please, we appreciate the support. And we really are hoping that everyone will try Culmina, share Culmina, and help all of us, show the bounty of beautiful British Columbia and its wines, and the masterful touch of Jean-Marc Enixon. So on that note, I'm going to stop the share. And if you would like to turn your screens on or turn your audio on, if anybody wants to have a chat or ask some questions or has some comments, you can certainly go ahead and share your thoughts.
I did want to say that Kayla has dropped a recipe in for Jean-Marc's beef bourguignon. So there's a link there, and it's also on the Culmina website. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking, something very complex. So I might have to make that, and a la Julia Child, but a la Jean-Marc.
And the chat, you can go into the chat and you can download the information that's in there. And if you don't get it, you can certainly message and we'll make sure you do. But I would like to raise a glass to Jean-Marc, to Marika, and to Culmina. Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone, and happy wine sipping Wednesday. I used to do a picture where I would get everybody to bring their videos, turn them on so I could see your faces. I know, I see you guys. And that way I would have this lovely picture to share on social. So if anybody would like to do that, I'll take a picture now. And I just want to say, please turn your videos on. I want to see your faces. Please, please. Yes, see, some people are doing that. Oh, I like it. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello. Guillaume, how are you? We meet in person, sort of. Deanna, hi. Hi. All right. Yes, Jim, that's great. Tracy, Jim, Dawn. All right. I'm going to just make yourselves beautiful. Bring yourselves forward with a beautiful bottle in hand or a beautiful glass in hand. And on the count of three, I'm just going to be like, all right, 3, 2, 1. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, cheers, and cheers. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, well, you know how to find me because you've found me. You know how to find Jean-Marc Enixon going forward. He's going to most likely be sleeping in the sleeping bag in the winery at Culmina. Is that close? Do you have a cot?
Yep.
He's like, yes. Yes, I do. Do you have a dog?
I have a Jack Russell.
Perfect. Does he test the grapes to see if they're ripe?
He's too short to test the grape.
By design. You picked a dog by design. I can see that. Any questions for Jean-Marc while we're here sharing? Yes, David, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, Jean-Marc. I'm been a big fan of Gruner Veltliner for many years and was thinking that it would be a bigger player in the Okanagan wine scene. And I'm wondering if you think that it's market forces that are holding it back from being a bigger influence, or if there's some geographic or climatic reason why it can't be more widely planted.
So there is, people are planting more Gruner and more and more. It's not too fast. The issue is with the Gruner, if you don't control your yield, it could be very productive, like 7 tons an acre or 8. If you don't control the yield. So that doesn't, when it's 8 tons per acre, like every wine, it doesn't give you, every grape, it doesn't give you a very good wine. It's pretty light and kind of green. And also people are scared to wait. The issue with the Gruner, as you can see on the bottle, it's 14% of alcohol. So it's not on purpose that I wait to get 14% of alcohol in the Gruner. It's just, the time it turns is a little bit green, and it's 3-4 days. It's going to turn perfectly good and everything, but you need to wait because we pick him between beginning of October and mid-October usually. So that's, to be a farmer, you can make good yield, but on the side of winemaker, for them, if it's too big, it's not going to work. It's too green. After, I know that people, if you start to drink Gruner Veltliner, it's kind of very unique. And me, I like it as well. And I think people doesn't know the grape varietal.
Right.
So if you go to a liquor store, whatever, you are not, well, I'm sure like 99% of the people are not going to grab a bottle of Gruner Veltliner. So first is from our people from the business to tell people, try that, it's very interesting. So I think it could be a very good varietal for the Okanagan Valley because I like the results that we have at Culmina, but people need to understand that it's not big yield and you need to wait to pick it. And after, we need to teach people what is Gruner Veltliner. In this way, they can buy it, they're interested in it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question, David, and lovely to see you here as always. Thank you for your support. Any other questions? I have to say Gruner is you know, Austria's signature varietal, and very, I don't want to say very different, but quite different if you are in Austria. In Austria, people speak German, so you know Gruner Veltliner means and is pronounceable. And you know, if you've got it on a label in an American market where you know we don't speak German or even understand the language, I think sometimes those are just fundamental barriers. Like if you don't know what it is, why are you going to buy it? So it really requires a marketing effort and tasting efforts. And but I think because Culmina is behind Gruner, I think it has a great chance of succeeding, especially when you can show its beautiful character and its versatility. And and presenting something unique. When you do a blind tasting, which I did on this podcast, you know, you have to give a lot of clues because people aren't used to tasting Gruner, you know, in our market. So lots of fun. But yeah, I don't know if you, of the 6 that we talked about, or the 5 styles we talked about today, does one have your heart at all, Jean-Marc? Or you have a favorite child?
Oh, it's like my own child. In fact, it depends of the day. For example, today it doesn't start well with one of my kids, but tonight I will love him. So it's same for the wine. It depends of the day. Sometimes it's a white wine day. Sometimes it's a red wine day. It's sometimes I taste in. Oh no, not today. I don't have any favorite. I can't, in fact, because that's for me. That's like that. Kind of never happy of what I'm doing. In the way it's quite normal. But no, it's funny. For a French guy making wine in the Okanagan Valley, it's very interesting because there is so much different varietal. That's maybe, in fact, the identity of the Okanagan Valley. This kind of all these kind of varietals that you can grow here and getting nice wine at the end. That's why it's funny and very interesting.
And I think it also speaks to this kind of mosaic that we're building in the Okanagan with international folks like yourself who come and bring their expertise, who look around and are open-minded enough to kind of go, oh, here we can develop something. Like I think I said to you, what I think is amazing about these wines, Culmina in particular, is that there is an old world element here. And it is this careful use of oak, I think, but there's so many components to that. But it's also this freshness, and there's always some fruit component to it that I really find appeals. And so when I'm tasting these wines, it's just so distinctive and so exceptional that I'm like, I can't get past how lucky I feel that we've got this going on here, because I'm sure there are people who will taste it and go, oh, old world, and that's kind of where they are. But it's like, but there's something else that's going on, which is this fruit component, which I think leads you to like, oh, it could be new world. So, you know, we have the opportunity to create something completely our own. And I think that with efforts like yours, I think that's what we're kind of on track to do. So thank you. Can't say enough about, I hope everybody has enjoyed the conversation. I can't say enough about what an honor it is for me to kind of facilitate this. It's been a total pleasure working with you, Jean-Marc, and with Marika and with the team at Culmina. I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. If you bought wine, thank you so much. If you haven't, please go and buy some wine. Damn it. And
there's also a couple dinners coming up at Ancora in Vancouver at the end of the month, and a lunch at Whistler.
That's for Culmina, right?
Yeah. So
how much are the tickets?
Pardon me?
How much are the tickets?
They're $189 for Ancora.
Awesome.
I think is it the West Van Ancora? I think.
I believe those are being sold through Marquee Wine Cellar.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
There you go, David.
Merci beaucoup.
Get your tickets from Marquee Wine Cellar for the Ancora Culmina Winemakers Dinner. So, Jean-Marc, will you be there?
Yep.
So I was going to say it's a little bit tricky to find find it on the Marquee Wine Cellars page, but if you go to our Instagram and the link in our Instagram bio, you can find the link to get to them.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else?
Put in the chat here, Marika.
So, merci beaucoup. Just
Anything else? There was a dinner and there's one other thing, isn't there?
In Whistler, there's a winemakers après. It's up on Whistler Mountain at Steep's Grill. And again, Lindsay's got the link for that in the chat there as well.
And is that in the month of March? Are these both March the 25th? I think was the dinner.
The end of March. I think one is the 28th and the other is the 29th. We're keeping Jean-Marc busy while he's in the good place by Culmina in downtown Vancouver. Easiest place is through our website. But you need to shop downtown Vancouver. Legacy Liquor Store, I know, carries some. Marquee Wine Cellar carries some. Culmina, I think. Those would be the ones closest to the downtown area, I think.
For stores that are selling wine.
Yeah, somebody's just asking in the bio there.
Yes, Save on Foods has a great selection. If you buy 4 bottles, it's 10% off. And if you buy a dozen bottles, you get another $1 off a bottle. So rush over. Yes. Yes.
Trying to get off the cruise ship, stop downtown, pick up my wine, get to the airport, fly back to the States.
Well, how can you get it in your luggage? I think that's awesome, though.
I am an experienced wine traveler, not a problem.
Thank you, Doug. That's awesome. All right. Do I have anybody want to share anything? This is the time. I'm going to turn the recording off, so you're going to hear a message.